but you want to boycott the one player, looking right at you, Angel Reese and Asia Wilson, one player that has caused the revenue to go way up in the monetary values. That's what you want to do. You think you're helping these women?
The NBA civil war has officially begun. On one side, Asia Wilson and her supporters are reportedly urging fans to boycott Caitlin Clark's games. On the other side, millions of new fans, brought to women's basketball by Caitlin's rise, are baffled by any attempts to undermine the star.
That's what they're mad about. 41 nationally televised games, and they are furious over it. I can't understand.
The league has never been more popular. Fever games are filling arenas. ESPN is airing more WNBA content than ever, and social media is buzzing about women's basketball. Yet, instead of embracing this growth, some players and their fans seem set on resisting it. The true motive behind the boycott effort reveals an uncomfortable reality about fame, jealousy, and the future of women's sports.
The original fans, activist fans, that's what they are, all right? Just keeping it real. They don't like the fact that you want to watch these games. They don't like the fact that you are 3 or 4 times the amount of them.
Have you seen what's unfolding in the WNBA right now? A full-blown civil war is erupting among fans over Caitlin Clark getting 41 nationally televised games this season, more than any other player in the league. The tension has hit a boiling point, and it's causing rifts nobody expected.
Right here, Caitlin Clark in the Fever will have more nationally televised game than any NBA player this year. Sorry, LeBron. Sorry, Luka. Sorry, every other player in the league. Let's be honest. I've seen the NBA ratings. She's beaten most of them.
Some WNBA fans are actually planning to boycott Indiana Fever games in an effort to lower viewership numbers. Can you believe that? They're deliberately trying to reduce the audience just because they think Caitlin Clark is getting too much attention. And it's not just random trolls online. People within the WNBA media ecosystem are promoting the idea that fans should illegally stream games or avoid watching Fever games altogether.
So they're all mad right now, furious, and my goodness, guys, they're talking boycott. Oh, what? Oh, there's strength in numbers. There's tens of you.
What's truly staggering about this situation are the numbers. Caitlin Clark will appear on national TV more than any NBA player this year. Not just any WNBA player, but any NBA player, period. LeBron James, Luka, Stephen Curry, these global superstars are getting less TV time than a WNBA rookie. That's completely unprecedented in basketball history.
And yes, I understand. This is a very, very small minority. It is a very small minority of people, but it is a loud, vocal minority. And this is not the general public. This is not the general population.
For years, a dedicated but small group of hardcore fans has been the driving force behind WNBA discussions, supporting the league through thick and thin, often when no one else was paying attention. But now, millions of new fans are flooding in, many of whom have never watched women's basketball before. And they're shifting everything, from how the league operates to who gets the spotlight.
We're not supposed to talk about it out loud, maybe. That's a massive part. Straight white girl's a big part of it, too. I mean, it's out loud. It's out loud. It just came out of my mouth like that. Just easy peasy. So they're mad, and they are calling for boycotts.
When you look at what's really going on, the boycott movement exposes an uncomfortable truth. Some longtime WNBA supporters would rather see lower viewership than watch Caitlin Clark succeed. They're willing to harm the league's growth just to make a point. WNBA media figures have expressed shock at these calls, highlighting that this vocal minority doesn't reflect the views of most fans.
The Slows are now planning to, quote, boycott Indiana Fever games to affect the viewership. They really think they matter in the big scheme of things.
The reality is, we're witnessing a classic case of gatekeeping. Longtime fans who feel a sense of ownership over a niche interest are suddenly watching it go mainstream and feeling threatened by the influx of newcomers.
It's just mad. And what they have now trying to do is they are trying to boycott Indiana Fever games. I'm not joking when I say this. They are literally saying, boycott Indiana. We need to all boycott the Indiana Fever games so they don't get more national TV games. We don't get more national TV games next year.
Critics of the boycott movement argue how counterproductive it is. By deliberately lowering viewership numbers, fans aren't just targeting Caitlin Clark. They're potentially jeopardizing the financial future of every player in the league. This boycott could have unintended consequences that affect the entire landscape of women's basketball.
I cannot believe it. And again, this is a minority of people, but the problem is the idiotic minority somehow have, a lot of them somehow have ins with WNBA players, WNBA teams and stuff. I cannot believe it. Like,
when you trace the money in professional sports, it becomes clear how self-defeating this boycott really is. Before Caitlin Clark, WNBA games were lucky to attract 200,000 viewers. Now, they're drawing over 1 million, and that five-fold increase isn't just a number. It represents life-changing money for every player in the league.
That equivalent, like, I just can't believe it. But their reasoning for boycotting the Fever games, they're literally saying, we should illegally stream the games when the Fever play our team. And I'm like, one, you are not a big enough percentage of the population for it to have any effect.
Let me break down how this works. The WNBA doesn't just randomly set players' salaries. They're directly linked to something called media rights deals. These are huge contracts that networks like ESPN, ABC, and CBS pay to broadcast games. And what determines how much these networks will pay? Viewership numbers. More viewers mean more advertising revenue, which leads to higher payouts for broadcasting rights.
All that does is harm the players. No matter who you are, what team you are a fan of, if you want the players to make more money.
Right now, the WNBA is in the midst of negotiating its next media rights deal, and this is the absolute worst time for fans to be talking about boycotts. Networks are seeing the viewership spikes from Caitlin Clark and are eyeing those numbers as a goldmine. They're prepared to pay much more than they did before she joined the league. Those million-plus viewer games aren't just benefiting Clark. They're raising the potential salary cap for every player in the league.
They're actively trying to ungrow the game. And it's madness. It's absolutely madness. Like, they're threatening to boycott the Fever games. All 257 of them threatening to boycott Fever games like it makes any difference. Like, these people are not fans of basketball. These people are actually not fans of the WNBA.
Think about this. Games featuring Caitlin Clark are drawing 5 to 10 times more viewers than the league's average before. What does that mean? Networks might be willing to pay 5 to 10 times more for broadcasting rights. This is exactly what the WNBA has been striving for since day one. The kind of mainstream attention that brings in serious money.
They just don't like Caitlin Clark. Like, this is genuinely, it's nothing to do with basketball. And it's nothing to do with Caitlin Clark, the person. There's no rhyme or reason to it, because I don't think there is a harder person to dislike.
Here's where the boycott idea becomes incredibly ironic. Many of the same fans calling for boycotts have been the loudest advocates for better pay for WNBA players, highlighting the salary disparities between male and female athletes. Now that there's finally a player bringing in the viewership that could help close that gap, they want to tank the numbers. It just doesn't add up.
They just don't like Caitlin Clark. It's a personal thing, and they will literally. These people, again, they're not fans of basketball. They're not fans of the WNBA. They're not fans of any teams. They just don't like Caitlin Clark.
What's especially frustrating is how short-sighted the boycott supporters are being. They don't seem to realize that higher viewership creates a positive feedback loop for the entire league's economy. More viewers lead to more ticket sales, more jersey and merchandise purchases, and increased interest from sponsors. The whole economic ecosystem of women's basketball becomes stronger.
I don't think they understand there's no viewership before Clark. So if they boycott, would it really move the needle?
And all this new money doesn't just go to one player, it benefits everyone. A rising tide lifts all boats. The revenue from these media deals gets spread across the league, boosting salary caps and minimum salaries for every player. Veterans who've been grinding for years on smaller contracts could finally earn the kind of money they deserve.
And it's a situation where they move the goalpost. They'll always move the goalpost. you're seeing like prominent figures in the WNBA media-ish space. And the reason I say media-ish space is the Twitter trolls somehow are interact with the damn actual media in a two-way conversations every day. It's mental.
Despite all the financial benefits Caitlin Clark brings to every player in the league, there's an uncomfortable truth we can't ignore. Would any other sports fans ever try to boycott their most popular player? Can you picture NFL fans organizing to avoid Patrick Mahomes games or NBA viewers refusing to watch LeBron? The double standard here isn't just surprising. It exposes something much deeper about how success is treated in women's sports.
Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to like get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all. And then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it, and I think that's what was different. I like wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of like for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they like couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with. But what we're seeing now is something else entirely. The WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22,
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Absolutely, to see your sister do that. Dennis don't keep posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is!
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has her game in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, Fagbinley.
Futility from three for the Sparks. 0 for 9, and
stuck in the air there. Fagbinley comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for...
there's just 1 of 5.
How about Fagbinley running the floor there? Threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept. Good.
Won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it a really good offensive.
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage. And Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the three, feeds inside to Boston for two.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill. And the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. She fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
Third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That will connect.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in. Are you kidding me? She's a student of the game. She got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will. I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game. She continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this. but it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths. Let's find different ways to get the ball to our players. And then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
A new sight on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that follow-away three. The logo three to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? For Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark circling around. Sets up Samuelson, who's wide open and free.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league. So
the implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling.
Today, Nafisa Collier went on First Take, and when we're talking women's basketball, you can't help but to bring up Caitlin Clark. It's just the way the world works.
It's the way things work. It's simply not fair that one team gets most of their games on national TV. This is what WNBA star Nafisa Collier has said regarding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever's TV schedule. But is it really about fairness? Or is there something else at play here? The reality is that networks aren't picking the Fever because they favor them. They're picking them because you, the viewers, are choosing to watch. The numbers speak for themselves. Caitlin Clark's games are drawing record-breaking viewership numbers that the league has never seen before.
Molly Karam, you win the award for the dumbest question of the day. Nafisa Collier, you win the award for the foolish answer of the day. And Stephen A. Smith,
Did you catch Nafisa Collier's comments about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever? Her remarks on First Take are making waves throughout the basketball world, and it's easy to see why. Collier, a star for the Minnesota Lynx and vice president of the WNBA Players Association, appeared on ESPN's First Take, where she was asked directly about the TV schedule situation.
And Nafisa Collier went on to First Take, and of course, as expected, she was asked about the Fever getting more TV viewers, which is just one of those like obvious things.
The controversy: the Indiana Fever will have 41 out of their 44 games broadcast nationally this season, while the defending champion New York Liberty will only have 32. Rather than recognizing the straightforward business reasons behind this decision, Collier offered a response that many fans are calling confusing, implying that the situation is somewhat crazy and unfair to other teams.
The reason why they have more national TV games because 18 of the top 20 most viewed games last year were the Indiana Fever. It was literally like, if I'm not mistaken, it was if you don't count the All-Star game, there was a Las Vegas Aces and Chicago Sky game that, again, was directly before one of the Fever games which had more viewers in it, which was literally right before a Fever game. So a game that led into a Fever game.
What made her comment so controversial wasn't just the content, but the way she delivered it. She began by acknowledging that people want to watch Caitlin Clark, which makes total sense. But then, she quickly shifted, suggesting it's crazy that the defending champions aren't getting more coverage. She seemed to try to have it both ways, acknowledging why networks would want to air Fever games while still implying that there's something unfair about it.
So if there are 175 slots, question, Fee, because you know more than me, how are we able to give more games to other teams without taking away from other teams? How does that work? Please enlighten me.
The most surprising part of her statement came when she suggested that other teams should get more TV games without taking any away from the Fever. This shows a basic misunderstanding of how TV scheduling works. Networks have a limited number of slots available, so it's impossible to give everyone more airtime without reducing someone else's coverage.
The WNBA do not decide who's on TV. Let's be there. They make the deal with the WNBA to get certain amount of games on certain days, and whatever, like, these networks choose who to show.
Stephen A. Smith wasn't having it. He fired back at Collier by drawing a powerful comparison to Michael Jordan's early years in the NBA. Smith highlighted that popularity is the key driver of viewership, pointing out how the NBA built around Jordan long before he was winning championships. The networks aren't showing favoritism. They're simply reacting to what the market demands.
80s, for example, when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took the NBA by storm and they were winning championships, competing for championships, but then this dude named Michael Jordan came along. And Michael Jordan came along and he wasn't yet winning championships, but his popularity was so astronomical that the NBA practically marketed everything they could around this guy. So to know that there's an example like that as a shining example to be followed that could benefit the league, particularly down the road, why is that an issue when we've seen that such a marketing plan has worked in the past?
What's especially confusing is how Collier doubled down instead of recognizing this business reality. Her stance gives the impression that she wants equal TV coverage, regardless of what viewers actually want to watch. But why would a seasoned player and vice president of the Players Association take this stance? What's really behind it?
I think it's an issue. I do think Caitlin's a star. And like I said, people want to see her, and we are trying to grow the league. Like, you need to put on TV the players that people want to see. But kind of what I said before, I don't think raising the level of the other teams has to mean bringing down Caitlin or the Indiana Fever. They should have those amount of games on TV on primetime, but I think other teams should also have more than what they have.
Collier's comments highlight a deeper issue within the WNBA, growing tension between established stars and the new sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's not really about fairness, it's about visibility and attention. Before Clark arrived, the established players had a certain hierarchy and distribution of the spotlight, but now that's being completely upended.
The issue with this is that if you are a WNBA owner, you have any stake in the collective bargaining agreements, you see how out of touch these players are. You know you're walking into those meetings with the high ground. Shout out to Obi-Wan. I mean, it is what it is.
This situation becomes even more intriguing when you factor in Collier's role as vice president of the Players Association. As someone supposed to represent the financial interests of all players, she's taking a stance that seems to overlook the economic realities that could benefit everyone in the league. The massive TV audiences Caitlin Clark draws could eventually lead to bigger contracts for all WNBA players, including Collier herself.
Hey, Nafisa, is it fair while my employer, ESPN, says, man, Molly, I want to pay you as much money as I possibly can, but the only way we can do that is with advertisers, is with bread. So to help your bottom line, ESPN needs to boost their bottom line. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark, she raises everybody's bottom line.
Beneath all the talk of fairness and TV scheduling is a simple truth that the Players Association VP doesn't seem to understand. When it comes to airing WNBA games on national television, networks aren't playing favorites. They're chasing the money. The numbers don't just tell a story, they shout it from the rooftops.
Stan, like from a casual perspective, there was 1.5 teams that were good to watch last year. Or 2.5 teams. The Wings were so fun to watch. They were garbage, but they were so fun to watch. The Wings, the Fever, and the Liberty were the only teams from a casual perspective that were good to watch.
Let me hit you with some eye-opening facts that explain why TV execs are racing to get Caitlin Clark on our screens. Did you know that 18 of the top 20 most watched WNBA games last season featured the Indiana Fever? The only exceptions? Game 5 of the finals and one Aces Sky game, which just so happened to air right before a Fever game. This isn't about favoritism. It's about what viewers are actually choosing to watch.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
You know, there's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you know, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Remember when Diana Taurasi questioned if Caitlin Clark would make an impact in the WNBA? Those comments didn't just age poorly, they completely collapsed under the weight of Clark's historic rookie season. Reality hit hard, and it's named Caitlin Clark. From the moment she hit the court, she didn't just silence her doubters, she rewrote what a rookie season could be. She claimed Rookie of the Year, made the All-WNBA first team, and set 62 records. Now, even the league's former MVPs can't ignore her greatness. In this video, we'll explore how 10 former WNBA MVPs are recognizing her greatness. But hold on, there's an unexpected 11th and 12th name on the list. Trust us, you won't believe who they are or what they had to say.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Let's talk numbers. Clark didn't just make history, she rewrote it. Most assists in a season? Check. Most in a single game? Check. Three-point record shattered. Highest all-star votes in league history? You know the answer. And she's just getting started. Can you imagine what year 2 will look like?
She just absolutely did it all and became a magnet for attention and an icon for sports fans, certainly little girls, certainly mine as well, playing her basketball and watching her play.
Stewart, a longtime fixture in the spotlight, spoke openly about the rookie's incredible impact, not just on the Indiana Fever, but on the league as a whole. She recognized that Clark wasn't just meeting expectations, she was rewriting what a first-year player could achieve. With record-breaking performances, a massive fan base, and undeniable talent, Clark was proving she belonged among the elite, and Stewart was one of the first to recognize it.
Caitlin is a great player, and I think the way that she's kind of came into this league, she's continuing to hold her own and show everyone what she can do.
Here's praise from a player of Stewart's caliber. This wasn't just casual praise. This was a multi-time champion acknowledging that something special was happening. Clark hadn't just arrived in the WNBA, she was already raising the bar for the entire league.
Aside from the numbers, the viewership, the attendance, the way that she plays the game, you know, she's ultra competitive, her ability to really stretch the floor and find her teammates.
Next up is Candace Parker, a two-time WNBA MVP and multiple-time league champion. She didn't hold back in praising Clark and the star power she's brought to women's basketball.
She has these games where it's like you have to guard her wherever she is.
As a respected basketball analyst for TNT, Parker uses her platform to spotlight how Caitlin has changed the game, not just for women's basketball, but for basketball, period.
And it takes time for people to want to be a part of it and to see it. I think it does take star power, and we're seeing how the value of that in the Caitlin Clarks.
Clark's game has truly impressed Parker, who points out the various aspects that make Caitlin's play so incredible. She even emphasizes that Clark needs to be guarded the moment she steps onto the court.
I think that's what she's done for the game, you know, in general. I don't say women's basketball, I say the game of basketball, period. You want to see a show, and I think that that's the biggest thing. You always talk about Steph being a showman. I mean, this is a showman right here.
Yes.
You're able to have sellout crowds to come and see you play. You have student sections that hate you, that want you to lose. That's what sports is, and that's what competition is, and Caitlin's brought all of that and some.
Here's Tina Charles, the second leading scorer of all time and 2012 league MVP, talking about the Caitlin Clark effect and the impact she's having on the league.
Listen, you talk about players that change the game when they're on the court, whether they're touching the ball or not. You have to guard her when she steps into the gym. And so I don't think we've seen anything like that in women's basketball. I've played against a number of great shooters.
Yes.
Somebody that when they walk in the gym, you have to guard them. And I think the way the game is played has allowed her to showcase that skill, to be able to take that shot. That shot's being a good shot. It speaks to where basketball is right now.
As a respected veteran, multiple-time All-Star, and member of the WNBA Top 25 anniversary team, Charles has seen players come and go. Talk about praise from one of the league's most respected players. When she says she's lucky to witness and play against Clark, a generational talent, it means something.
Yeah, I mean, the energy that we're getting, the reception, the eyes that we're getting on us, it's amazing. And it's just because of that new generation that's coming in.
Now, let's get to something that'll warm your heart. Caitlin Clark's childhood basketball hero is Minnesota Lynx legend Maya Moore, the 2014 league MVP. Here's Moore sharing the story of how she first met Clark when she was younger.
Obviously, we know who Caitlin Clark is and what she's been able, her impact in this league and especially this year. So however we can get it, I'll take it for me personally. So just thankful that I'm able to be a part of it and still be here to witness it, yeah.
The connection between the two has stayed strong over the years. Here's Moore surprising Clark before her final regular season game at Iowa. The reactions on their faces? Absolutely priceless.
It's just really, really cool to think about one of those little girls became Caitlin Clark. So I think it just goes to show you when you just do your best to be in the moment and treat people with kindness and just be present when you can, it really makes a big difference. And looking at the type of person and leader that she can be with people.
You can see the pure joy on Clark's face as she sees Moore, a true testament to Moore recognizing the impact Clark is making on the sport.
I still feel like I was this tall and freaking out, and I ran across the court, gave you a hug. I know. Now I'm like taller than you. Oh my God.
Talk about a full circle moment. Clark has said that the reason she takes time for her fans, especially young girls and boys, is because of the impact Moore had on her.
All I ever wanted to do was meet her. I didn't have a phone. My dad didn't have his phone, so I just ran over. It's like, can you sign my shirt? Signed my shirt, gave her a hug, ran away. It's like the most vivid memory I have of like women's basketball growing up. And like, honestly, like I still tell everybody that story because it meant so much to me. It's like so cool.
Enter Nneka Ogwumike, the 2016 WNBA MVP and perennial All-Star. Here's Nneka showing Caitlin some love after their All-Star game win.
I thought that they were professional, like as anyone at this level would be. I'm always impressed by the two of them. I think it was also really fun to see them playing together tonight. They had some synergy, and the maturity that they have going in, not even just being here at All-Star.
Clearly a fan, Nika makes it clear you can't deny Clark's impact.
What's up, DC? How are you? How you doing? Good to see you. You got the rush? Yeah, it was nice.
Remember Clark's #1 hater, Cheryl Swoops? Well, here's her teammate and the first ever WNBA MVP, Cynthia Cooper, shutting down the hate and showing some love.
I'm sitting there like, oh my God. But she's so crafty. This is what people don't know about Caitlin. She's not just a three-point shooter. She's a great passer, not a mediocre passer, not so-so. She is a great passer, but also she's crafty. I saw her get the ball, lay it up on the back door cut, like they waiting for her to pop out to the three-point line. Boom, she slips back door, gets that bucket. Like, she is crafty, and she's just a rookie. She's just a rookie. That level of greatness, that level of play on a consistent basis as a rookie puts you up in the upper echelon of any league, definitely the W.
She even reached a point where putting Caitlin Clark on Team USA is not just great for America, but great for basketball. Talk about the ultimate praise.
I would have put Caitlin Clark on Team USA, absolutely. Any USA basketball experience for someone as young as Caitlin Clark is going to benefit America for years and years and years and years. So yeah, I would have put her absolutely on Team USA.
And the highest praise came when she said this.
I wish, Caitlin Clark had that experience this year because she's our future.
Indiana Fever legend, WNBA champion, and 2011 MVP, Tamika Catchings, recently showed some love for Clark and discussed her impact on the entire sport. For someone who's seen the Fever through thick and thin, hearing this from Catchings is some serious praise.
I just want to ask, to start off, Caitlin Clark right now, Indiana Fever, what is she doing for the WNBA? How much do you love it?
Obviously, Caitlin Clark effect, being able to come in, but what I think is what she brings.
Yeah.
Coming from the college realm, there's a lot of great rookies that have come in. She's definitely spearheading it all.
Next up is 2021 League MVP and WNBA champion Jonquel Jones defending Caitlin Clark from all her bullies.
You have to be careful when you say like the Fever fans, because I don't think it's the Fever fans. I think it's the people that wanted Caitlin Clark to be a certain type of way and they thought that she was, and so they became Caitlin Clark fans, assuming that, and then they realized like, oh no, she's actually not racist.
JJ stepping in to defend Caitlin Clark wasn't just unexpected. It was a moment that flipped the script and clapped back at all her bullies.
They wanted to latch on to Caitlin Clark and then use her as, like, I guess, like this fuel to be able to be the way that they wanted to be. They want her to be the representation of their racism and like their view on the world, and she's not like that.
Jones's defense of Clark was powerful because it cut through the noise. It wasn't just support. It was a reminder that as the league grows, it must guard against harmful generalizations and celebrate this once-in-a-generation talent. Speaking of MVPs, remember when three-time MVP Lisa Leslie suggested that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese should be co-rookies of the year?
And she's actually said that they both deserve to win Rookie of the Year.
Well, that comment clearly didn't age well. Now, she's fully on Team Clark, shutting down the haters after Clark's historic night. I guess she adjusted well to the WNBA after all. At number 10, we go full circle. Diana Taurasi, the 2009 League MVP and the most prolific scorer in WNBA history. As the season went on, reality set in for Diana. Here she is, hugging Caitlin during one of their last games together. In her last press conference, it was all flowers for Caitlin. Maybe because she got swept in all 4 games against Clark, including the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. What Caitlin's been able to do in her short career so far has just been nothing short of remarkable. And the one thing that I really love about her, she loves the game. You can tell she's put the work in. And even, throughout, her short WNBA career, it's been a lot of pressure, a lot of things thrown at her, and she keeps showing up and keeps getting better every single game. So her future is super bright, and being a veteran and being in this league for a long, long time, it's pretty cool to see that and, going into the future.
Surprise number 11, we have former All-Star Game MVP and Clark's mentor, Erica Wheeler, known for her honest insights. Wheeler described the Fever's locker room as anything but toxic. She shared how Caitlin Clark's humor eased tense moments, turning pressure into chances for laughter and team bonding.
All we do is have fun. With Caitlin Clark, who never takes anything serious, I tell people all the time, she's really a kid at heart.
Finally, we have the reigning MVP herself, A'ja Wilson, who just couldn't help but still deny Clark's greatness.
Where would you rank her amongst all-time college players, in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard.
There you have it, 11 former MVPs giving Caitlin Clark the respect she deserves, and one current MVP who just couldn't face the truth. What she's done in her first season is historic, but the best part? She's just getting started. Clark isn't chasing stats, she's chasing championships. Every record she breaks brings her closer to her goal, bringing titles to Indiana. More than that, she's inspiring the next generation and showing that the impossible is happening right now. This isn't just a great season, it's the start of a new era in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark is leading the way, rewriting the WNBA's future, and we're here for every step. And the best part? It's only the beginning.
Great player, good person as well. She's been great, and I'm really excited for her at this next stage in her career.
Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball.
Another forever moment for this transformational superstar.
Have you caught what Juju Watkins said about Caitlin Clark? The basketball scene is electric, and the WNBA's usual figures are rushing to stay composed. Picture this. A 19-year-old college athlete exhibiting more class, respect, and leadership than veterans who've been in the league for years. Watkins just spoke some real talk, stirring up a league that clearly needs a reality check. And guess what? Angel Reese isn't brushing off Watkins' support for Caitlin Clark.
After spending the last 12 or so months complaining about being sexualized, after spending the last 12 months complaining about the dirty messages that she receives from lonely men on social media, Angel Reese, she was given the cover of the winter edition of Vogue magazine.
Let's set the scene. The WNBA has transformed into a drama series lately, with Angel Reese striving to be the leading star. Take, for example, the exaggerated buzz surrounding her Vogue cover. You'd think she revolutionized the game based on how they're celebrating it.
Angel Reese, who the media wants you to believe is the face of the WNBA, when at minimum, she is the co-star in this box office drama.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has just earned Time's Athlete of the Year, one of the most esteemed honors in all of sports, and the league barely took notice. It's almost laughable. Clark's accomplishments are monumental, yet it seems the WNBA has chosen to highlight the wrong narrative.
What would you say was the greater accomplishment? The cover of Vogue magazine or Athlete of the Year? Without a doubt, Athlete of the Year is the far greater honor. So I am incredibly confused with the difference in response to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Let's be real for a moment. Vogue is undoubtedly a significant milestone in pop culture, but it's far from the ultimate achievement. On the other hand, Time's Athlete of the Year is a worldwide honor that places Clark alongside legends like LeBron James and Simone Biles, athletes who have transformed their respective sports. The contrast is immense. One accolade celebrates genuine greatness, while the other offers a temporary spotlight. Reese's cover may be trendy, but Clark's award solidifies her legacy.
You guys tell me, what would be the bigger accomplishment? Landing the cover of Vogue or being named Athlete of the Year by Time magazine? Not Female Athlete of the Year, I'm talking about Athlete of the Year, which means if you won the award, you were competing with legends like Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Donnie Carr.
And here's the catch. the WNBA seems unable to prioritize effectively. They're elevating Reese's Vogue feature as if it's the league's most significant event in years. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's remarkable achievements are being dismissed as an afterthought. It's almost humiliating to witness how they're manipulating the narrative, and Juju Watkins is not standing for it.
All kidding aside, I am happy for Angel Reese. Judging by some of her comments, Angel Reese dreams of being a fashion icon, which makes sense. I mean, seriously, what child grows up with dreams of becoming a dump diver in the WNBA? What child grows up with dreams of playing pretend basketball in empty high school gym?
What we're seeing isn't merely a difference in accomplishments. It's a prime example of how the WNBA chooses to direct its focus. Caitlin Clark is elevating the game to new heights, demonstrating that women's basketball deserves a place on the global stage. Angel Reese? She's preoccupied with garnering praise for herself. The distinction couldn't be more apparent. Regarding Caitlin Clark's latest extraordinary achievements, the WNBA has remained silent. It's almost as though they're intimidated by what Clark stands for. This isn't just any athlete we're discussing. Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent, a transformative force who's redefining women's basketball. Instead of honoring her as the superstar she truly is, the league is behaving as if she doesn't exist at all. It's ridiculous.
Although I am happy for Angel Reese for achieving her lifelong dream of landing the cover of Vogue magazine and being viewed as a fashion icon, I thought the celebration from the media was a bit strange. Some might even call it hypocritical.
So how did the WNBA react to Clark being named Time's Athlete of the Year? Oh, you're going to find this amusing. Instead of rolling out the red carpet or even sending a simple congratulatory tweet, they chose to ignore her. That's right, complete silence. It's as if they've slipped into an alternate reality where Clark's monumental success doesn't even matter. But here's where it gets really interesting. While the WNBA is busy pretending Clark isn't carrying the league on her shoulders, the broader sports world has taken notice. Clark isn't just being compared to her peers in women's basketball anymore. She's being mentioned alongside the biggest names in all of sports. That's a big deal, folks. And yet, the WNBA seems determined to treat her as an afterthought.
Angel Reese was celebrated for landing the cover of some magazine that no one reads anymore, while Caitlin Clark, she was vilified.
You'd expect the league to be thrilled about having a superstar who single-handedly fills arenas. We're talking about sold-out games wherever she plays. Meanwhile, most WNBA games struggle to attract spectators. The contrast is immense. But instead of capitalizing on Clark's star power, the league is treating her success as a challenge to be managed rather than a victory to be celebrated.
This is how Caitlin Clark was treated by jealous players who directly benefit from her star power. It's also how she was treated by those in the media who also benefit from the drawing power of Caitlin Clark.
What's genuinely unfolding here? It seems the WNBA is apprehensive about success, particularly when it's embodied by Caitlin Clark. She's drawing massive crowds and setting new records. Yet, instead of embracing this momentum, the league appears to be overlooking it. It's a peculiar example of self-sabotage.
Caitlin Clark was pressured by the media to share her honor with unknown and undeserving WNBA players who contributed absolutely nothing to the elevation of the league last season.
And here's the twist. While the WNBA keeps dropping the ball, other players are stepping up to give Clark the recognition she truly deserves. Enter Juju Watkins, the 19-year-old phenom who's wise beyond her years. Watkins openly lauded Clark's influence, demonstrating more maturity than the entire WNBA combined. Just imagine that, a teenager acknowledging greatness while the league itself chooses to ignore it.
I have been saying this for a while now. This is one of the main problems with the WNBA. They want to pick and choose which players are celebrated. They want to tell you who you should support.
Clark isn't merely a star, she's a movement. She's transcending the sport, standing alongside the biggest names in all of athletics. Yet, instead of celebrating her, the WNBA is treating her rise as something to fear. It's downright comical. As the league continues its awkward dance around Clark's success, Watkins is out here dropping truth bombs that have everyone talking.
But after reading her recent interview with Fox News, Juju Watkins, she has earned some of my respect. After reading this interview with Fox News, it became abundantly clear that Juju Watkins, she gets it.
So what's the WNBA's ultimate plan here? Are they genuinely expecting Clark's impact to simply vanish? Spoiler, that's not going to happen. She's drawing unparalleled attention to women's basketball, and their reaction is complete silence. Meanwhile, athletes like Watkins are demonstrating that the next generation understands the significance. They recognize the bigger picture.
Fox asked her about the influx of attention that Caitlin Clark brought to women's basketball. Here is what Juju Watkins said. So many new fans in the sport can sometimes be a headache. Not everyone knows what they're talking about, but it's great for the sport. The fact that people are watching is enough in itself. We would like it to be positive, but it's not always going to be like that. As long as we continue to raise the numbers and viewership goes up, I think that's all we can ask for.
Juju Watkins isn't just thriving on the court, she's showing the league how to truly embrace success. At only 19, she's already accomplishing what the WNBA should have achieved years ago, giving Caitlin Clark the recognition she deserves and demonstrating that women's basketball belongs on the global stage. It's almost poetic. While the WNBA falters, the youngest voices are stepping up to lead the way.